Hello everyone and welcome back to More Alone With You. In the last one, we spoke with Leslie and went over the things that we found out in the agrodomes, a lot of trauma, and the fact that she eventually submitted to Ashley's desires to run more experiments. So now in this next mission, we're going to meet with Pierre. So that means we have to go to the next colony. Good morning, Cerulean. Can you believe the week is almost over already? You've got one more mission this week, and I'm picking up readings of a storm again. You better come to the core. I always find it telling how you can talk to me from here. Why do I have to always go to the core? Just a thought. I feel like it would save a lot of time. You can tell me the mission and what I have to do on my way to the shuttle. Seeing as how I know the drill already. There's only one more area you can visit today, and it's a good thing too. Those storms are coming back around. Let's get this mission over with so you can return before it gets too bad out there. My projections don't look too good. You got it, Sam. Alright, on our way to the next colony. The colony that caused the drama between A and B due to the rift. So, yes, read. Be completed, inaccessible, and Pierre. Alright, let's go. On our way to gather more information so we can hopefully escape. I'm also curious about Pierre. I forgot a lot about him. This was Colony B's Medical Center. Much of it looks like a collapse in the Rift event. I don't imagine it will be pleasant in there. I would rather not go in at all, but you need to find medical supplies. Just go on in and let's take a look around. Honestly, I'd rather not go in any place because of the damage, but it is what it is. We gotta get out of here. Oh my, that's even worse than I imagined. Those poor people. Well, let's do what we came here for and get out of here. You need to look for medical supplies. They're usually in red containers. Alright. This stain is a little jarring. It looks like a handprint. Looks like blood, really. And this music definitely doesn't help. It's a self-Irish terminal. Patients use it to file their issues quickly. They might still be able to read a data card. Man, can America take notes? Or anywhere, please? Because that's a really neat thing to have. Just scan yourself and it tells you everything that's going on. I mean, sure, it may be a little overwhelming, but better safe than sorry, right? I mean, for the most part, I like to think that most people are pretty healthy when they come out. You know. Alright, let's go to the intensive care unit. Alright, and a dead body I see. Any files? Anything we can scan? Alright, who are you? That's the body of Nurse Darius Simonis. His remains include several cracked ribs and a bruised skull. Nurse Simonis didn't take well to colony life after a while, and though he was well liked by other colonists, he could be devious. I still have access to a security report regarding Mr. Simonis. Apparently after several years he started getting into fights. How did Nurse Simonis contract those particular injuries, I wonder? Yeah, I don't know. Debris. The other ICU rooms are completely blocked off by the destruction. I see. I can? Anything else to scan in here? Alright. Oh, 2 more bodies. It's a faded handwritten note. You might not be able to see the ink very well, but I can read its traces for you. It says, Darius, inability to run CAT scan means we can't properly diagnose. Use code medfiles to access the main system and see previous history. Alright, so everyone remember medfiles, that is our code. Not too hard of a puzzle, but let's look at you. Who are you? Oh my, I'm afraid those are the remains of Nurse Yagmer Dahl. She was one of the more senior nurses before the Rift event. By the looks of that room, her body sustained serious exposure to the elements, but in her pocket is a datapad I can read. Nurse Dahl's shift log. February. You know what? I'm probably the only one still doing this. I hope later crews will benefit from our experience. It's been 8 months now since that quake ruined the colony. Without a connection to the AI, we're flying blind in so many ways. The world was that Supervisor Tong was leading a team to Colony A to repair communications and get supplies. That was 2 months ago. We're doing the best we can. It's so sad. Oh, we can't even identify this person. That room is in quite a state. Those remains you just scanned are so compromised. I can't determine whom they belong. That's really tragic, because now they can't get a proper burial. Well, we can do the best we can. Alright, so that was our code. We can't enter that room yet without another code, so let's utilize this first code. The Triad Station's terminal has timed out. You'll need a password to unlock it. Do you want to enter a password? Let's do it. So does everyone remember? It is medfiles. Medfiles. Oh no, just medfile. Medfile, there we go. Oh, is it not medfiles? medfiles. Did I not spell in medfiles earlier? I wonder what happened. Maybe I made a typo or something. Okay, we're in the main medical network. I've used it to disable the locks in that room. You should be able to use the doors there now. Oh, this is interesting. There are medical records for most of the colonists. Some are missing or corrupted. What's notable, however, is that the records with 4 of our special colonists are absent as well. There might be hard copies of those records somewhere else, perhaps even in areas you've already been. Keep an eye out for them while you're looking for those medical supplies. Alright, I'll do my best. But first, let's finish what we started. I like to go from right to left. I mean, that's, I think, the linear path to go. Anything we can look at over here? Files. Of Pierre Tong. It looks like you've scanned medical records for Director Pierre Tong. You will no doubt find this interesting. He was known to work very long hours, and at one point his work ethic led to extreme exhaustion. It was Jean Lumumba who checked him into medical after one extreme case. But Mr. Tong, as you know, was very stubborn and continued to work very hard, possible to his detriment. His record also notes suspected painkiller abuse. Despite this, he was checked in several more times for extreme exhaustion throughout the years. Now there should only be 3 more medical records to find. Oh, that is pretty hard. Great! That is a large package of standard medical rations. Your scan indicates its contents are still intact and viable. There must be more supplies available. Please keep looking. Imagine being a director of this entire colony. Everyone is depending on you. Everyone and everything. No wonder he worked himself to exhaustion. So sad that he had to go like that and suffered so much. So that's locked, but we can go in here, the examination room. It looks really terrible in here. What's this? That operation assistant drone was destroyed in the collapse. We can't even salvage his parts for use elsewhere. His? Please accept my apologies. You are correct. That was needlessly sentimental. The drone has no gender, of course. Oh, well, it's okay to use personification. It's alright. I use it all the time. You appear to have found medical records on Agrodome's chief, Leslie Bourdois. There are some very interesting details in here. According to this, Miss Bourdois suffered from mild claustrophobia. It says that she often complained about it when she was required to be in the main colony facility. It also says that she experienced mild allergies, not to the earth plants she was cultivating, but to some of the natural elements from this planet. Apparently, in her attempts to adapt flora to local environment and create new breeds, she developed new allergies and came here seeking help for them. Now there should only be 2 more medical records to find. Well, that definitely makes sense. New environment, new planet, allergies, yeah. It all makes sense. Everything's coming together. Let's go up in here. Yeah, also, it's kind of hard to see these doors, you know, hanging off the edge of the screen. Because I definitely would have missed it. And I have. You found another set of hand-drawn schematics. These seem even more complex than the last, but they're difficult to make out. They've been affected by exposure to increasingly tainted air. They mentioned something about improving speed? I think you should mention these to Dr. Tong when you meet him in the holosim chamber. He might be able to help. Well, he has to. He kinda has to. Alright. Oh, a nurse spot. You can see like the little nurse hat. That drone has become completely corroded due to exposure. It likely served to the very end. How noble and loyal. Alright, anything up here? Operating theater. Alright, some pants. Those are scrubs for the medical staff to wear when entering the operating room. They're supposed to be clean. Your scan, though, indicates they aren't as sterilized as they should be. The staff were likely working in increasingly difficult conditions. Well, how could you? With the separation of the rift, I can imagine it being very, very difficult to clean. The water in those scrub stations is putrid and filthy. There are even small vines growing out of it, like the ones you found in the agrodomes. Yuck. Who are you? You discovered the body of Dr. Lance Morgan, or Magurian. He was a brilliant surgeon and a major asset to the facility. The doctor wasn't always popular with his subordinates, however. He was very impatient with staff who couldn't keep up with him. Oh, aren't they all? There's always someone who doesn't get along with everyone else. It's always like that. Different people, y'all gotta find ways to deal with them. Anything in here? This place looks like a lot? Unfortunately, that batch of antibiotics and other general meds has been exposed and are no longer usable. What an unfortunate waste. Let's not give up hope. There must be something else in here that you can use. Keep your eyes open. Alright. What are these? You've discovered medical records for Expedition and Research Management-led Jean Lumumba. His record is long, but I can pull salient details. He began to experience occasional but serious lumbar pain a couple years ago, likely from all the physical labor he insisted on doing. And then, while working in the caves, Mr. Lumumba suffered a leg fracture and underwent laser reconstruction here at the facility. Because of Mr. Lumumba's continuous activity, the fracture continued to bother him and made his work more difficult. I have notes here about many subsequent medical visits. Yeah, and I recall that he kept that hidden, and I'm like, how? I feel like there were a lot of people in here. Someone was bound to notice. You found an access card. It doesn't look like someone's personal data, more like a system card. You have to find a way to read it. Alright, I know exactly how to do it too. Alright, what's this body? That's Dr. Li Zhu, the head surgeon. She was incredibly ambitious and one of the youngest surgeons Hudson Cartier ever employed. According to my records, Dr. Li was a huge proponent of using drones for research and practice. She was very forward-thinking. This was a major point of contention between her and Dr. Magorian. He didn't think kindly of non-human medical staff. I can understand why you would be apprehensive to just depend on robots, but at the same time, technology is moving forward and we must too, otherwise we'll get left behind. The theater table normally has very modern, elaborate equipment next to it. Those tools, however, are less than ideal. There's a non-functioning datapad and an old-fashioned theater record book next to it. Some of the pages in the notebook are of interest. Patient W. King. Procedure spinal fracture nano rebuild. Staff L. Magorian. Surgeon D. Simonis. Assisting. Complications: seismic event during OP caused jump and delivery beam. Fracture not 100% closed. patient will experience limited mobility if we cannot revisit this. Oh, yikes. Anything else over here? Nothing? Alright, there's a lot in this room, so make sure that you take the time to look at everything. Alright, now that we have that data card, we can actually open this door to the bottom left-hand corner. Oh, my mistake. We haven't been here yet. Let's see. Let's look at this bed. As the seismic events became worse, it must have become increasingly difficult to run a stable medical facility. That's an understatement. Anything else? A filthy bed? The scan shows a disturbing collection of material on that bed. Reduced supplies likely meant a less than ideal scenario in there. Ah, I see. A data pad? Medical supplies? Those nutritional supplements will help you survive the long trip in the escape pod. You're lucky there was any stock left. Still, I think it's in your best interest to find as many supplies as you can while you're there, so keep looking. Right. It looks like the ER was quite busy at the time. There are numerous reports of fractures and major injuries. Let's see. More files? I found the medical records of Comms Relay Chief Winnie Laurier. They are, unfortunately, not a happy collection of notes. Miss Laurier experienced anxiety throughout the duration of her post here. She had trouble relating to the other colonists, and that led to pronounced cases of stress. Eventually, she was diagnosed with depression, though according to these notes, she never really accepted that diagnosis. Well, you found our colonist medical records. I wish we could leave, but we still need to see if there are any viable medical supplies around here. You got it. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot this room. I'm glad I went in. Alright, to the west corridor. That's right, it was this room down here. The X-ray lab has been locked with a passcode. There must be something around that'll help us figure it out. Of course. Okay, we've already been in here, just making sure. Wait, let's use that data card. And use it on here. It looks like that this is a system bypass card. Inserting it brought up a debug menu of sorts. Most of what's here is useless, but there is a file that can be accessed. There's a truncated account of the last patient process, data 2060-0423. Patient 0, McKenna Malady, danger to self and others. It continues, to my great dismay, Mr. McKenna had to be contained. Please forgive me for what I had to do. Another note in the file says, don't open up his room until you are sure. He has grown dangerous. Use YYMMDD, but only if it's safe. Or the year, date, and everything. Alright. That's our key. That's our ticket to unlocking this password. So, let's do it. 600423. Oh boy, that room is quite a state. It must smell quite strong in there. Yeah. Must have a very strong odor everywhere. Not trying to think about that. More medical supplies. Looks like you found a decent cache of supplies and medication that we can keep for our journey. We found as many useful supplies as you're likely to, and you found all 4 of those medical records too. Finally, that's over with. I don't want you to stay there another moment. Head to the shuttle and come back home. The way Sam says home makes me so sad. That's what's left of X-ray technician Obaseki McKenna. He appears to have been locked away in that lab for some time. He likely died of malnutrition in the end, which would have been most unpleasant. He was clutching a letter. It took me a long time, but I forgive you. I know you did what you had to do. I'm so sorry for everything. What I did to Darius was unforgivable. I know that now. Last words. Tragic. Sad emotions and heavy moods all around. That's what this game is all about. And dating. Oh, Cerulean, that was a very difficult to experience. What's wrong, Sam? I will need some time to think about all this. I was not prepared for how bad Colony B had become after the Rift event. Your scans revealed so much disease and filth. The colony became just as dangerous and toxic inside as it did out here. Only now am I truly realizing how disastrous losing contact with this place was. Maybe it's best if you just get home safely. We can talk about it, Sam. If there's anything on your mind, it's always good to talk about it. And if there's no one, it's always good to say it out loud to yourself. Getting it out, or on paper, is one of the best ways you can handle and cope with these kind of situations. And therapy too. Don't let the stigma of therapy just be associated with people who are mentally ill. Everyone could use it. Alright, we have landed. Well done today. I know it wasn't easy. Please come to the core right away so we can process your findings. Or you can process them right here as we're talking, and then I can just head to bed. But then that would ruin the flow of this game. Alright, here it is. All my data. Okay, all the data you collected today is synced and ready to be worked on. You did well out there. Since you went to Colony B, you'll be able to visit Mr. Tong in the Holosim chamber tonight. You can retire to your quarters when you're ready. I'll call for you when the Holosim chamber is available. Yep, I know the drill. Good night, Sam. See you at midnight. And we'll see the others too. Let's go. Nice. It's time, Cerulean. The Holosim chamber is ready for you now. Just head in when you're ready. Have a good evening. Alright. Time to talk to Mr. Tong. Maybe we can get more information about his abuse of painkillers. Maybe we can help him out, talk about it. Alright, Mr. Tong, here I come. Ah, you're back. I assume that means you headed back to Colony B. AF4B/3B said, well, it mentioned the medical wing. How'd that go? It was good. We got everything we needed. You must have had to get fresh supplies if the AI sent you there. Even before things got really bad, the medical facility was in rough shape. Listen, I can tell that the AI is having a very hard time with this, with saying Colony B again. I mean, it may not realize it, but after the Rift event, well, a lot of the colonists began to resent it. I must confess, I don't really understand why. The Rift event stranded us. It wasn't the AI's fault, but for some reason I remember the people who were left getting more and more angry. The medical center you saw today, I think it did something to Sam. It seems different now. Can certainly understand. I watched a lot of good people succumb to terrible diseases and stress of everything that was happening around us. What about you? Me? Well, health-wise, I wasn't one of the worst cases. I was too busy to check myself in too much, especially after the Rift event. Things were hectic. On one hand, we were lucky. So much of the medical equipment Hudson Cartier equipped us with could be used without a technician. When our staff became compromised, we at least could get basic procedures done automatically. It kept everyone in decent shape for a good long while. But eventually, things had to be calibrated or maintained, and we kept losing the people who were best suited to do those things. And what's worse, automed equipment can't help with mental stresses that affected everyone. Only humans could, and we were all at the end of our rope, you know? I think all of us were affected, mentally and physically. I don't like to admit it, but I was no different. Honestly, it was just so difficult to see people like that as Colony B started to degrade. Well, Here's some medical records. Oh, I see. So it looks like you did some digging of your own while you were out there. Where did you get this? These were supposed to be confidential. Look, I know what you're thinking. What the report says is true. I did work too much. I had to. I was the director. I had an entire facility depending on me. And the pills? The painkillers? Well, yeah. If I'm being honest, for a while they were a problem, but only for a while. As it says in the report, Gene brought me in at one point. He was worried about me. He was always worried about me. I was exhausted, and it was affecting me. I was losing weight, unable to sleep. I think that's when Gene and I started to argue a lot. We were very close, you understand. We really helped each other see the flip side of the colony's operation, but we could butt heads. A lot. After he checked me in, I got those painkillers. I convinced the doctors I need them, and for a while, I told some of what was going on. Eventually, though, it was a problem. Gene and I continued to argue whenever we met. Maybe they were partly the reason we had such a falling out. But after he left to go off somewhere, I got off those damn things. Things were getting worse, and I knew I had to get everyone else through the mess. I don't remember much after that. I must have left too, but I don't know why, or to where. But please, believe me, I'm not that man anymore. Hell, I'm not a man of any kind, really, but you know what I mean. Honestly, it was just so difficult to see people like that as Colony B started to degrade. What about the schematics? Oh, well, look at these. You found some schematic drawings, did you? These look just like the ones you found before. It appears I was indeed busy trying to come up with something. These are unfinished, but they're concepts for how to increase the speed of the escape ship by modifying the thrusters. I can work with these. Complete these notes and talk to Sam so it knows what to do. This will go a long way to improve your escape ship. Thank you, Cerulean. It really helps, you know, to see that I was still trying, in some way at least. Well, it seems like you're really getting the inside scoop of what everyone went through. But you've got your own trials, so let's talk about you. What would you say is what you worry about the most? Losing your mind or your body? Definitely my mind. That makes sense. You said you love to read, and your ability to enjoy that was affected. I can see how that would be troubling. The reason I ask is, we've been talking so much about the stresses of what happened to us, but you've got your own problems now. And it's really important that you don't ignore how stressful it is. Don't just try to bottle that up and expect to make it out okay. We're all just working away on getting your ship ready, but staying focused is really important. So if you need to talk about anything, I'm here, okay? Thanks, Pierre. You don't need to thank me, Cerulean. Just come to me if you need to. That's all I ask. Well, I think we probably used up enough of the colony's power for tonight, haven't we? It really has been great seeing you again. Please remember what I said. I'll be thinking about you while I'm working here on the ship's thrusters. See you next time, Cerulean, and please keep an eye out for anything that might help me understand what happened. So, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but one of the things that I didn't know before, that I didn't realize, kind of glossed over it really. I think it's implied that Jean and Pierre had some sort of romantic relationship. Because he mentions that they were very close, the both of them did, but not explicitly saying they were together. And if you go back and watch as he's mentioning it, you know, explaining that relationship, he kind of shifts his eyes back and forth, like, hey, you know, we were that kind of close. So it just, you know, something to think about, something that I didn't know, or, you know, didn't pick up on. But, yeah. Anyways, so that's the end of our week, and, we'll be continuing more and see what's in store for us. More storms, and everyone seems to be in good spirits now that we're talking to them on a daily basis. So, without further ado, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.